If you're not a hardcore fan of the US men's national team, you may not realize that we don't just get into the World Cup. We have to qualify. Or, if you're a new fan, you might have found this out the hard way when you realized we were not going to be competing in the 2018 World Cup in Russia because we failed to qualify. But qualifying for the next World Cup in Qatar in 2022 is right around the corner. I'm Ty Fujimura from the We The Peeps USMNT podcast, and I'm here to give you the lowdown on how it works, what our chances are, and how you can get involved.
It's We The People. It's We The People.
The 2022 World Cup will have 32 teams. It's going to be the last World Cup with 32 teams. The World Cup in 2026 is actually going to have 48 teams. The organization that's in charge of the World Cup, FIFA, has split up all the countries in the world into confederations. And the confederations are kind of independent governing bodies that regulate how the sport is managed in those regions. And the confederations are in charge of determining who from their region is going to go represent that region at the World Cup. And our confederation is called CONCACAF. And CONCACAF represents the Caribbean, Central America, and North America all together. 3 teams get to qualify automatically for the World Cup, and 1 team gets into a playoff game, which they'll play against a sort of half qualifier from another confederation. For years, World Cup qualifying involved 2 rounds for the US. There was a qualifying round to get into the final round, which was called the Hex. And the US almost always qualified for the Hex. And the Hex was this awesome battle between the top 6 teams in CONCACAF to see who would get those slots. But because of the coronavirus pandemic, CONCACAF has had to shrink the qualifying process. The top 5 teams in the region, including the US, according to the FIFA rankings, get in automatically to this final round, and there's going to be 3 qualifiers from among the other nations. Each team will play each other team once at home and once on the road. So this final round, the Ocho, is going to feature 14 games per team. You're going to play each team once at home and once on the road. Now, it's not exactly clear when those matches will be. The best guess right now is that it's going to run from summer of 2021 through to the summer after that. And the World Cup in 2022 is not going to actually take place until the winter. Because it's being held in Qatar, and Qatar is 150 degrees in the summer. Historically, the US has been really good at qualifying. We made it to 7 World Cups in a row. We had not missed since 1986 by the time we failed to qualify for the World Cup in Russia. But because of the experience that we had last time, the entire fan base is super nervous that this might not go well either. That said, the team that we look like we're going to be able to put on the field for this round of qualifying is going to be much, much better than the one that we had in the last round. And that's because a lot of our youngest players happen to also be our best players. The US is producing better and better players, so the top 5, 6, 7 players on our team right now are all under 23. They're these young stars of the future, guys like Christian Pulisic, who plays for Chelsea, or Weston McKennie, who plays for Juventus. Traditionally, the biggest challenge for US teams when it comes to qualifying is going on the road. We face a lot of hostile environments, very difficult weather, long travel, especially for our players who play in Europe. So the US has always had trouble going on the road within our region. And this time around it's going to be especially tricky because, as I mentioned, we have a lot of these really young, talented players, but the downside of that is they've been trained in Europe. They've been going over to Europe at younger and younger ages, and so they might not be prepared to play in some of these environments that traditionally the US has had to play in qualifying. And we have to see if this group of young players is going to be able to cope with that kind of environment. So how can you follow the team as it attempts to qualify for the 2022 World Cup in Qatar? I have to tell you, it is not always easy. Figuring out what TV channel these games are going to be on can be really tricky, especially for the away games. Each team within the region has the TV rights for their own home games. So US Soccer, the governing body that runs the US men's national team, sells their rights usually to one of the big domestic networks. But for the away games, All of those agreements are brokered differently, and there have been games that were just straight up not available on US TV or were only available on some really weird channels that nobody gets. So one thing you can do is subscribe to the We The Peeps USMNT podcast or on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, all that stuff. Just search We The Peeps, will come right up, and we will keep you up to date with how you can watch these games as they go. One method that I use a lot is going to bars and restaurants, because even if a game is on a weird channel that I can't even get on my cable package, there are restaurants or bars that will have that channel. And even better, if you go to a bar seeking a particular game, there's usually going to be other fans there who you can hang out with and enjoy the game together, assuming that by summer 2021, going to a bar is not going to kill you. One great way to find out which bars in your area might be carrying the game is to look up your local American Outlaws chapter. The American Outlaws are one of the biggest supporters groups for the U.S. teams, both the men and the women, and they have local chapters in pretty much every city around the country. If you hit up their website, I'll put that below, you can look up your local chapter, and that chapter will regularly meet at different places to check out games. Or they might even have a home base where they pretty much are guaranteed that they'll always be showing the game when there's a game on. And of course, if a home game is in your city, skip the TV and go check it out yourself. Qualifying matches are super, super fun, especially when we win, and you will literally help our team by being there. If you like this video, please hit that like button, give us a quick subscribe down below, and also check out our podcast. We do it before and after every game. Again, it's called We The Peeps. We're on Apple Podcasts, Google, Spotify, all that. Just search up We The Peeps. We'll show right up. And we will be keeping you up to date on the entire process of the U.S. trying to qualify for this World Cup in Qatar. And we look forward to seeing you soon.
It's we the people. It's we the people. It's we the people.